Hey everyone. Hello. Hello everyone. Thank you for being so patient. We are going to get started. Thank you guys for hanging out. I think after we finish the talk show, we're going to continue more Detroit Become Human because I am very intrigued by that game. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. If you guys like the tunes, please check out this link. Edamame, which is one of our dear friends, Lee's cousin, Ed. Hence the name Edamame. Now, as a reminder, let me do this really quick. Lower the music so you guys can hear me better. Oh, Lee, you can unmute yourself if you want right now. But just say hello to everyone. Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Giggles and googles.
Giggles and googles. Just
Googles and ladies.
Before we get started,
Mercedes.
getting my Mercedes. Before we get started, I wanted to really quickly remind you guys that alerts will be muted, so that me and Lee can stay on track. For those of you guys who don't know, me and Lee have ADHD. So whenever noises and things come up, we get distracted and we lose focus on what we are talking about, and then we go off on a tangent unrelated to topics. There will be a section of this where we thank everyone for all the alerts, for all the follows, the hosts, like all that fun stuff. And we will take a Q&A question as well, so we can continue the conversation with you guys. I'm currently working on a Discord for all of you guys to come hang out with. Normally Discords are centered around streamers. I'm trying to make sure that mine is more focused around building community and spreading ideas and talking and conversation. So it's taking a little bit longer, but I want it to be absolutely perfect before I start sharing that link out to everyone, and I want to make sure that I involve the right people that I think will help make this thing great. So without further ado, welcome to the Exp Talk Show. The Exp Talk Show is a science-fueled talk show we do every week, or try to, when life doesn't take a hold of our penises and take us on adventures. You know, life grabs your dick pretty hard sometimes.
Yeah,
you gotta just...
Does it?
Yeah, sometimes.
But that's okay. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Guess it could be a good thing, could be bad.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, you don't know.
You know what I mean?
Dude, that's...
You never know.
It's a good analogy. It could be 50-50.
Right.
Am I
How
wrong?
do I sound, by the way?
You sound good.
Yeah, sound good? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not using the my Yeti microphone, so...
It's okay. Your beard is rustling the microphone in.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Wait, hold on. I can fix this.
You just do that.
Microphone. There we go. Check 1 2. Check non-rustly. Don't get the rustles in my bustles. Can you hear me? Okay.
Move the mic around. Let's see. Oh, that's your. Yeah, we can still hear your beard.
Can you? God damn it.
Oh, it's like ASMR.
Okay. I hope it's not too bad. I'm sorry, guys. I switched it to my default mic. Hold on. Does this change it? Check 1 2. Check. Does it? Am I rustling?
You're still rustling.
Damn it.
It's because it's plugged in. It takes priority.
Damn it.
That's how it works.
Okay.
I think.
I'm sorry. I fucked everything up, guys.
No, you didn't fuck anything up.
I fucked it all up. I fucked it all up. It's okay. All right. So if you guys hear some rustling, that's my bad. That's
no worries.
Yeah, so.
Just make sure you don't.
You hear that? That's. I told you.
It's a little Daisy. Little Daisy.
That's Daisy in the background for those of you who've never met her.
Daisy the pooch.
Daisy, come here.
Welcome in, everyone. So again, this is the XP Talk Show. My name's ConkyDong64. This is R2Lee2.
R2Lee2. Good to see you all again. Another fantastic episode of the EXP coming your way. Excited to have y'all in here. This is like it baffles me every week that we still get people that like come hang out with us every week. So a lot of people, the same people that we've seen in the past, which is amazing to see you guys again. Excited to meet new people, to see new people up in the stream in here. So it's just a grand old time. Steve, I can't tell you how many times I look back at like some of the first shows that we did, and it was like, oh my god, dude, we got like 6 people watching us right now.
Fuck yeah, dude. Or like when we had 10, it was
yeah.
like, fuck yeah, dude. That's like
Right.
10 people in a room, but there are roughly 30 plus people in here. I don't know the actual number.
I'm seeing 46.
Ooh,
based off of
bitch.
the internet.
Yeah, see,
Based
I don't
off the
have...
internet.
So like the way I've set up my stream in the... like when we're seeing it, you can only see names. I don't want to know the number.
Right.
And so like the names are there just because... I don't know why. Actually, I think I can close that out so I get more chat. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I don't even need to know who's here. If I see you pop in the chat, hello. Hello, everyone.
It's blind, right? It's
Yes.
super blind.
Well, I
That's
don't
so
want to. I want to have the sense that I have all these people because it might change my behavior, and I don't want that to happen.
Man, it changes mine in the best way because I see all your beautiful faces checking us out.
What was I gonna say? Oh yes.
Gotcha.
I need a favor. I need a favor from you guys. Welcome in everyone. Shocktopus, Paranoid, Venus, Josh, Droopy Jors, Bejesus, Princess Aeoli, Raven's Call, Mikolate, Paranoid, I said again, Jaeger. I need a favor from you guys. So anybody that's new coming in, if they start conversation, that sort of thing, in order for us to stay on topic, hi Chris coughed. In order for us to stay on topic, and I'm re-emphasizing the fact that it's hard for us to stay on topic sometimes. We can't be welcoming and warm as we normally are. So if you see somebody new, please let them know what's going on. Say hello for us. So that we can stay on topic, stay on conversation, and that way you guys get the most out of the XP Talk Show.
Hell yeah.
All right? So just a quick recap. I know we just did this, but there's a lot more. There's people in here, right? So, again, this is the Science Fueled Talk Show me and Lee started, called the XP Talk Show. It's about sharing experiences. It's about celebrating science. Our discussions are fueled by that. We will be focusing on some content. Please be as warm and welcoming to any new people you see in here. Before we get into the nitty gritty, the science,
the nits and the grits,
the science articles that we have for you today, and the conversations of, fantastical explanations.
Conversations in the ether.
I want to, we always start with something personal so you guys can get to know us a little bit more. We talk about our 2 weeks. Lee, how was your past?
It's only a week.
Sorry.
Remember, we're
our
back
past
on the
week.
weekly schedule.
Our past week. I'm sorry.
You said this. You said that a past couple of shows. Where
I did.
What's your past 2 weeks have been? And I'm like, dude, I was here last Thursday.
Yeah. Usually we have to. It's because I think really hard about 2 weeks.
I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to hear about your new employment in a second.
Yes.
Because maybe we might, if depending on your start date, we might have to take a break. Maybe the week of when you start.
Yeah, depending on how intense it is.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So anyway, my last week was great. Friday, the last Friday, Elaine and I went over to the brewery that we're having the wedding, and we started brewing the beer. Like, started straight up like mixing, ingredients and stuff like that, and talking with the head brewer and stuff.
That's so awesome.
Which was just awesome. And he had like this cool kind of like micro brew set thing set up, like these 3 like mid-sized tanks and stuff. So we got to go back and like in that little like brewery area where all the big giant like brewery tanks are, and start like mixing the ingredients together. So there's like the beer that you guys are gonna have at the wedding like was kind of made by us.
That's
awesome. What I'm saying? So which is like super dope. And so we started that process. We got to try like a couple of beers like straight up out of the giant tanks.
Hell
like,
yeah!
Pouring us little samples and stuff like that. So it was a really good time. Everybody at that brewery is just like has been so accommodating and so like welcoming and stuff. And it's cool because the head brewer had his wedding at that brewery like a couple weeks ago.
That's awesome.
He knows exactly like what to expect from us and stuff. So it's just so good. So we got more planning and stuff done. I went to another wedding last Friday at one of Elaine's friends.
Oh yeah, dude.
And it was a good Friday. And then Labor Day happened, I was working on Labor Day, which doesn't make too much sense, but such is the world of retail.
Yep.
And got a fresh cut today.
Fresh fade.
Fresh cut.
Hell yeah, bro.
Right? And I know we'll probably talk about this in the weeks to come, but I'm stoked for the Childish Gambino show on Saturday, dude.
Dude, yes. Did you get the email from him, by the way?
What email?
Okay, there's an email he sent out where he's like, listen, there's songs that you're going to hear that are not like on the actual album, but it would benefit you if you listen to these tracks. So he provided tracks for the show on Saturday.
Can you forward that to me?
I should be able to, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But he said you need to be acquainted with the music to make the experience better at the show.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
But
I'm so excited when because Leia's like, she was in the other room and I was playing video games. She goes, oh my God. And I was like, what? She's like, Childish Gambino emailed us. I'm like, he probably didn't personally email us, but it's still fucking cool.
All right, let me check real quick here. What is the...
Don't do it now. Don't do it now.
Okay, we won't do it now. But yeah,
we're getting distracted. Yeah, I will. But yeah, so
but that was my week, dude. That was my week. Yeah.
Awesome. Dude, what did you have, like a specific hops you're using for the beer you're brewing?
So check this out. So we also got, because it was hard for me to define what the kind of beer we're gonna make is, because he like the head brewer was like, I told you this, he was like Rain Manning like these ingredients like in his head of just like, I'm gonna use this maybe maybe this little thing, it's gonna be so like it was hard to keep up with him, but so we figured out it's going to be a peach tea infused double dry hopped saison.
That sounds fucking sensual. I want to drink
that.
Did
you just like all those ingredients?
Double hopped saison. Saisons are fucking delicious.
So it's gonna be hoppy. It's gonna be like warm. It'll be like perfect for the pseudo fall weather that hopefully is gonna come.
Yeah.
And a little bit of that brightness from that peach tea. It's gonna be. Ooh.
Sounds sensual.
It's gonna be good.
I want to smooch it already. Get it all in my mustache.
And we're coming up with a name because we have to, and we've got some ideas, but we're gonna keep some brainstorming going on.
Right now, what's the top name? What are the top two names?
Right now, the top name is For Eternity, like TEA at the end of it. Get it? Instead of a Y.
It's kind of a mouthful.
For Eternity.
Why don't you just do Eternity?
That's
Eternity.
Yeah. Something along those lines. So we're gonna do something that with like a little pun in the name, I guess. But we're gonna cross our fingers. We'll have to see.
Eternity sounds fucking dope.
Right?
If you were to like,
if
just
you
one
see
word.
It, like, look at like just visualize the text. Whenever
yo, give me an eternity, bro.
I'll have an eternity, please.
Eternity.
Right? That sounds good.
Yeah, it's got enough T's in there too.
And it's gotta get like the wedding and marriage kind of element into it too, you know. So yeah, we're gonna still do some brainstorming, but I think we're on the right track.
Yeah,
so sick.
So sick.
I got the chat up too, so I'm keeping on the you little goofs in the chat. I'm keeping up on you.
I'm watching you, boobs.
I'm watching you, boobs. How was your last week, dude? Tell me.
Dude, my last week was I'm trying to think really quick. It was good. I'm trying to think. What did I do? Oh, I did my first creative stream.
Ooh, do tell.
I edited a video live and did music live.
Ooh.
I found out I can hook my iPad up to my computer using the line in, and I was doing Launchpad music for the video I was making.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool.
That's pretty good. Were people able to see your screen on your iPad or just the
No,
audio?
you can do that. I can do that though, because on you can video capture your iPad through your Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And I can do that through my computer because it's HDMI, so I can just pop that in there.
If you talk to Kirsten, because she does that all the time. She does she does streams of iOS games.
Yeah, actually, do you know Tony Rabbit?
Negative.
Liz Rab's husband, who does the cartoons.
Okay, yeah.
So he streams now on Twitch.
Nice.
And so I ran into him. He was doing live drawing and all that stuff, and it was really cool. He listens to game soundtracks and like music while he's articulating like what he's thinking and experimenting with brushes in Procreate.
Sweet.
And I was like, man, if he's doing that, like maybe I should get a little bit more creative with it. And so, yeah, I edited a video live on stream. We streamed for 7 hours. I finished the entire video. It's pretty dope. I was pretty happy with it.
That's dope.
Yeah, and then we had like a little DJ session this morning because I was like, oh man, I can just fuck around in the beginning of this and like get everybody like excited for stream or chill or whatever, you know, sound pack I'm using, right?
That's awesome. I love those like musical apps and stuff like that. You could just fart around and like just put beats together and stuff.
Yep, loop libraries are like my favorite thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that,
we got Chris Coughed in the chat here, 3 a.m. But fuck it, I'm staying. This is awesome. Is that for tonight? Is it 3 a.m. where
he is?
You are. Do tell where you are around the planet, this Earth of ours.
Tell us where you are.
We
on the
appreciate
planet.
hanging out.
What was I gonna say?
What else you got? Most buttery butter thing.
Oh, speaking of buttery butter, we went to Honey Butter Fried Chicken yesterday.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Oh, dudes.
Dude, talk about fried chicken, man. Just slow. Okay, do us a favor. Do us all a favor. And slowly describe what you ate in as much like culinary detail. And then just give us the sweetest description of that taste in your mouth.
Yeah, so let me just break it down for you
butter
guys.
Fried chicken, bro.
So, first of all, I would like to praise this restaurant because you don't tip at this restaurant. There's no tipping. They don't allow it because they pay their employees a living wage. Fucking crazy, right?
How about that, guys?
Whoa, dudes, you don't need to rely on tips to, like, live? That's fucking forward-thinking as shit. So, yeah, that was one thing. And then the whole setup of it's like a traditional diner. They've got beer on tap, Chicago-supported stuff. But yeah, so Leia ordered plain wings and Korean wings.
Sweet.
And I ordered a 4-piece meal with mashed potatoes and honey butter cornbread biscuits.
Dude, I think you get that with every meal, I'm pretty sure. The biscuits?
Yeah, but we got like the pack or whatever. What is it?
Yeah. The, like,
where you get more of them. Yeah, so we did that. And I don't like cornbread, and I try to stay away from corn. But these people milled it to like a fine muffin texture, and the edges were crunchy. It was so good.
And they do them like in little, because it's honey butter fried chicken, they make them like kind of like a little bite-sized.
Yep.
And they look like little honeycombs. They make them in honeycomb form. It's incredible.
Yep.
So good.
And so that, and then their fried chicken is just fucking, it's great by itself, but so so let me just talk about it for a second, because I had it, dude. I had it. It's so good. Like every time I feel like I'm safe, the reason why I crave this chicken is because they bring together a spicy, not overwhelming spice, but a like well-seasoned fried chicken with paprika, roasted paprika on it. And it's slightly salty. It's not super salty. And then they give you a side of honey butter. Okay, so it's a literal cup, like about this big, of butter and honey together. And then you dip your chicken in that, and then you put it in your mouth, and you just die from how good it is.
So if you want to keep living, okay? If you want to live a fruitful, full life,
you need to go.
You need to go, but you also don't need to go, because you're going to die after this. Because you're going to be like, fuck it. Nothing else can be better than this. Nothing.
I was just so grateful for that meal. Like,
for real.
It was one of those things where I was like, this is such a beautiful world. Like, everything, fried chicken, like, okay, is one of my top, we talk about this a lot, is one of my top 5, at least, favorite foods to eat. But that fucking chicken, like, the combination, whoever thought of that was definitely under the influence of maybe psychedelics or drugs. I feel like it was like a DMT trip. You know what I'm talking about? Where, like, they found that specific flavor palette that went with the chicken, and they were like, this is it. This is all we need to do. And they made a whole business out of it, and it worked. Because that butter is fucking unreal. You put that shit...
we had, like, I think we took some home, or like a friend of ours where it was at like a catering event that honey butter came to, and we got like a thing of it. We got like a whole dish of and it's still in our fridge right now. You just put that on everything.
Yep.
Put it on everything.
It's so good. But specifically with that chicken, it's so good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else happened over the weekend.
Real quick pause.
Yeah.
So someone earlier was saying, so when you were talking about the tipping thing, that tipping is a very long topic.
Yeah.
Could possibly be the discussion of this evening, because I think if we chat about, like killer places that we like to eat, maybe, and then kind of lead that into maybe some like tipping discussion, that could be a possibility if you guys are in for that.
Well, if we're gonna have the AI discussion,
we got to have that, of
and
course.
some touching on Detroit Become Human discussion,
we can get to
the
it.
universal basic income comes into discussion, and that is a part of it.
Let's talk about all of
We're gonna
that.
talk about it. So hold your horses, your britches, your pants. But yeah, I don't think I had anything super major. We put the down payment on the venue.
Hell yeah. What is the name of the venue, by the way?
Ovation.
Because real quick, this is kind of like a you and me conversation, but we went to is it a glass blowing facility?
No, that's where we were initially.
Okay.
And I liked it because there was dangerous things, so that
Yeah.
when we said there would be no kids, there's a reason. Like, there's hot shit going on around here. There's melters. We don't have kids climbing and shit. Like,
Ow.
no kids, right? And everything's fragile. So I'm like, this would be perfect for that. And then, our initial impression while we were sitting in like the cocktail area was that it was a little cramped, and it almost felt like you couldn't be comfortable because you were surrounded by everything that was fragile and like museum-y.
I think we must have been in a different place, because like we were at Elaine's friends had their reception at a glass blowing facility. Right, and it's like down like close to the loop, kinda, and I thought it was the one that you were talking about, but this place is like open. It's got a rooftop and stuff like that, and it's kind of specifically for events.
Yep,
it might be the same thing.
It's the same place.
Might be the same place.
Yeah, like everything else, the outside area was great, and all that. But the downside would be if it's raining, then we can't use the top half, and the areas where you would frequent, like prior to getting into the venue and all that, were surrounded by art and glass and things that, like, it's not that you couldn't do it, but being around that stuff, like, we wanted a certain, like, I know it sounds hippie and shit, but we wanted like a certain energy about the venue, and one where you could immediately enter and you'd be like, well, I'm fucking relaxed. I'm like, this is cozy. I'm down to chill here. You know what I mean? It wasn't supposed to be like this super hype thing.
I think it depends on how many people you're going to want, because like at this one, it was probably like 160 people maybe.
Yeah, we're looking at 150. So
yeah, it did actually end up raining that night too. So having everyone inside like didn't work too bad. So yeah. So yeah, not too bad.
But we already got our date locked in and the venue picked out, so we're good there. We just need to
You still want me to be the officiant, dude?
Oh hell yeah, dude.
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be the guy up front marrying these two. You guys get that? Because that's a big deal. Okay, it's a big responsibility for me. It's a beautiful moment, and I'm gonna do whatever I can to make that whole ceremony magical for you. For you both. And you guys, I'll bring it down. Hey, hey everyone, we're here to marry. I don't know. Anyway,
no worries.
It's gonna be a good time, man. Can't wait.
I'm excited. And then I think I was supposed to hang out with some friends on Monday, but I ended up just doing a creative stream because things got in the way and it was storming and all that stuff.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
But I can't really think of anything that was like super outstanding.
What are you busy tomorrow night?
Friday.
Tomorrow night? I know we're hanging out Saturday for the show and stuff, but
I don't think
Friday
so.
Night? No?
Let me take a look at the calendar. There shouldn't be anything in there.
If you're free. So we have an adventure planned in my neighborhood. Oh, Elaine's home.
Hey, she was good.
She was okay. Yeah, she didn't bark too bad. I'm actually really surprised. So in my neighborhood in Chicago, they opened up a Taco Bell cantina near me.
Oh, you told me. Yeah.
So
I can't eat there.
You can't?
I can't. I literally can't.
Anything. It's too much poo that happens?
No, it's not even too much poo. It's like I don't know what the fuck is in their food now.
Yeah.
But the past 2 times that I've experimented with eating it, it was worse. Elaine, it was worse stomach-wise. And you kind of know, like, the medical shit I was worried about. That happened, like, more than once.
Okay.
And I don't know what I seriously don't know what changed about their food. Nothing that I can think of other than, like, extreme amounts of processed cheese. Yeah. Which, like, fucked me up really
I don't get
bad.
it. That's really weird because Taco Bell is, if you guys read the articles, like, Taco Bell is now one of, like, the quote-unquote healthiest of the fast food chain. So I'm, like...
It's really weird. I honestly don't know what it is. Because, like, when I think about it, like, the only thing that I can explain is, like, the amount of processed cheese they use, or I don't fucking know.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I don't have any ideas. I have no ideas what's going on.
If you want to come,
and I've tried the minimum amount, dude. I've tried, like, only having 2 tacos, and I had the same result. And I was like, that's fucked. Okay. So it irritates me.
Here's what you can do. If you want, this is still totally on the table for you. You can say no. It's totally cool. Mm-hmm. We still go. All right, you can get yourself some cinnamon twists. Because
I'm not gonna fucking eat that shit. I will eat and then I'll hang out with you guys. That's fine.
All right, cool. Yeah, we're gonna be hanging out, and then we're gonna So season 3 of Ultimate Beastmaster on Netflix has been released, and most likely, so it's gonna be my friend Pat and Adam, old high school buddies, and we're probably gonna have another like March Madness style bracket thing for Ultimate Beastmasters. So
sounds good to me.
So, dude, yeah, you're more than welcome to hang out if you wanna come hang out, dude.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I don't see anything on the calendar, but I don't know if, like, Leia has anything planned or whatever.
Keep me posted, homie.
I'll text you.
You guys get this understanding? Like, we're making plans, right? You can understand that, like, Steve and I are true friends. Okay, we're actual friends in real life. Is that fascinating, or am I just being a little bit extreme here?
No.
It's like you never really see people, when you see, like, kind of co-hosts for a show, like, they're always just like, you're here just for the show, right? Like, you're friends because you're the show.
No, dude.
Whereas we are true friends. Like, we make.
You guys are friends. We are friends.
Oh yeah, we're all friends together. So good.
Yeah, let's get into the scientific topics. What do you say? So we got a pretty big one. Like, the first article that we have to go over is pretty insane. I mean, this is a celebration of not only female prowess, but a British astrophysicist who was overlooked and then rewarded $3 million for their work in pulsars. Lee, break it down for us, my dude.
So we got so this article was found on The Guardian, trusted news source, and the topic of the article is a British astrophysicist was overlooked by Nobel of the Nobel Prize and wins $3 million in an award for pulsar work. So this is so just to read a couple of excerpts real quick from this article. A British astrophysicist who was passed over for the Nobel Prize for her discovery of exotic cosmic objects that light up the heavens have won the most lucrative award in modern science. Her name is, I think her name is Dame Jocelyn Bell Burnell, a visiting professor at Oxford University, was chosen by a panel of leading scientists to receive the $3 million special breakthrough prize in fundamental physics for her landmark work on pulsars and a lifetime of inspiring leadership in the scientific community. So she was overlooked for a Nobel Prize, but here's $3 million instead.
It's pretty fucking tight.
Which is super tight. Now, a couple things come to mind, just kind of reading this right off the bat. So who never knew that, people actually get money for, like, these kind of discoveries? You know what I'm saying?
I had no idea.
Yeah, when scientists, like, discover something breakthrough and something insane like that, I didn't realize that they actually had, like, a prize-winning money type of, like, outcome to it, which leads me to believe, like, what's the motivation between a lot of scientists and stuff to be able to find out these answers for things? Like, I understand the need to fund the programs and fund the studies and stuff like that, but just, like, Are you doing it just to try to get, something like this? I don't know how common, some of this stuff is, but
well, again, I mean, $3 million isn't something to be taken lightly. I mean, this is
a very unique
story. A lifetime of work, most likely, and then on top of that, you're talking about bettering our understanding of our our cosmic environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just to give you guys an idea, too, a pulsar is a celestial object thought to be a rapidly rotating neuron star that emits regular pulses of radio waves and other electromagnetic radiation at rates of up to 1,000 pulses per second. She is the only astrophysicist who discovered this and the first female president of the Institute of Physics.
Okay, big deal. It's like... and for those, another way that Pulsar might kind of spark to mind. If anyone has seen like the inscriptions that are on the golden record that's on the Voyager probe, the Voyagers 1 and 2, there is a Pulsar map, which is like, if you've ever seen it, it's like a single dot and then these like kind of dots that sprawl out. Kind of looks like a drawing of a star to a degree, but that's actually a Pulsar map that actually like maps our location, based off of our nearest pulsars that are around us. So it's like kind of an interesting cosmic map that was created based off of these pulsars, which is amazing. So kind of like full circle bringing this astrophysicist into it, which I think is amazing, right?
Right.
And the other thing that comes to mind is a picture of her, and so she was born in 1943 in Northern Ireland.
Ireland, yep.
And but what is fascinating about that is that, I mean, she's not necessarily like an old woman, and a lot of this discovery and stuff, in retrospect and kind of in the bigger scheme of things, is pretty new. Right. You know what I mean? For a lot of this, for a lot of these discoveries. So in our lifetime, these people kind of still exist, which I think is amazing. So we always want, at least I always want in my lifetime, to see these breakthroughs in science happen in my lifetime. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Like there's obviously like big breakthroughs that are, before our time, of course. But I'm talking like while I'm still alive, like I would love to see these major breakthroughs in technology, space travel, like more information about our universe. Like that would make me super happy.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So, but this is a good thing to celebrate. This article was on the 6th. So that was today. So that came out just today, which is amazing. We'll donate. Oh, here we go. Ooh, here's another piece from the article too. So the astrophysicist, Jocelyn Bell Burnell, will donate the money to help students underrepresented in physics.
Yep, she's donating all the money.
That is incredibly magical.
$3 million, just like
$3 million back into your
kids.
Underrepresented physics. So it's like when someone is kind of the leader of some group of scientists, leading some charge for some scientific discovery or research or whatever it is, this is a direct, understanding of how scientists think when it comes to like, literally, like this would not happen if it weren't for the people that are around me, and it were for the people that I know that are, doing these same kind of research and discoveries.
Yeah.
So I think it's amazing that she is taking that step to donate all of that to those people.
I agree.
That's incredible, man. Oh, that's
incredible.
It is. The world is great. The world is great.
Yeah, it kind of restores a little bit of hope in humanity as well, too. Because,
dude.
I mean, it's setting an example of... I don't know how to explain it. It's like setting an example of like what we expect of people who have that knowledge and have the drive and the wherewithal to like endure years of researching and pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into something, and then that is the reward alone.
Yeah.
Is recognition, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of crazy to think about that. It's awesome to see it displayed.
All they want. That is all they want.
That's it.
It's truly like just the recognition. And if you ask like any scientist, they'll probably all be aligned on the same kind of goals and aspirations of just being able to discover something that hasn't already been discovered, to know something new about our universe we didn't know the day before. So it's like, that's the kind of mindset if you kind of get yourself in, even if you're not a scientist, even if you don't study it, like we've emphasized several times that Steve and I both, like, we're not scientific, like, we're not like
Experts.
knowledgeable. We're not experts in that kind of field, and we can't tell you everything that you need to know about like these scientific topics. But if you can just be an advocate of science, and if you can just be someone who is passionate about this unknown and have that kind of goal in mind. So like, I take that same approach with me in life, right? Where it's like, I want to try to know something I didn't know the day before. I want to just be curious. I want to question things. I want to, like, you know, have this view of the world that's very open-minded like that. So
Yeah.
So if you know, so the same way with scientists, that's why I'm so inspired by all these scientists, because like, they are proving that if you live this life of curiosity, then you will find something that will, reshape the world that we know.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, it's incredibly inspiring, incredibly fascinating. And it's like, and all you could do is just like, keep researching, keep celebrating these scientists that are, in these fields and doing this research, and then just like totally go for it, man. It's so cool. Oh,
super awesome.
Gotta love it, dude.
I love it. I love it.
So sick. Any thoughts in the chat? Like, as far as this, we got this article again. If you want to put this in the Discord or something, if you wanted to.
I'm working on a new Discord, my dude.
Oh, that's right. Yes. So never mind.
Yeah. I have it bookmarked though, so
cool.
No worries.
We'll make sure that people can kind of see this article. But again, if you guys find it, again, we're at theguardian.com. British astrophysicist overlooked by Nobels wins $3 million.
Oh yeah.
For Pulsar work.
Super
so
great.
Good. So good.
So nice. Yeah.
So she will be handed the award of the Glitter Silver in November. She's going to get the award in November, where previous winners have mingled at times rather awkwardly with celebrities such as Kate Beckinsale, Will.i.am, Cameron Diaz, and Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman's probably not like, he seems like the dude who'd be like, don't talk to me. I'm busy. Or he'd approach the scientists. I feel like it's more his pace, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. That's
I voiced Wonders of the Universe before. And from time to time, I think about how we are so small.
So good, dude.
But yeah, let's move on to another topic.
Yeah,
so our topic actually comes on to it's from one of our very awesome moderators. And it was funny. I got a notification in the Discord from Josh, one of our mods, who posted an article from the same source, The Guardian, about the first ever trials on the effects of microdosing LSD to begin. Now, for those of you guys who are unaware, and this is, I guess it's always me who's talking about psychedelics and the psychedelic aspect of the XP Talk Show, but the microdosing has actually been like really prevalent in the Silicon Valley areas and creative fields. And what I mean by microdosing, it means that you don't take enough of an illegal substance to trip balls. Or go on a hero's journey, or hallucinate, anything like that. Microdosing has to do with using a psychedelic compound to expand the creative thinking part of your brain, the focus part of your brain, the or to make you less depressed, essentially like a positive mood, keep you in the present, that sort of thing. So, just to give you guys an idea of how prevalent this is, it's been talked about consistently, and there are who knows how many people doing this, but there's no scientific evidence to support how it benefits anybody. None. And the reason for that is because the substances are illegal. People won't come forward about them doing illegal substances, and people are afraid of being penalized for the use of illegal substances. So therefore, they're not going to talk about it. Now, the exciting thing about this and what it does is it opens the door for further studies of psychedelics. And for those of you guys who are familiar with what we do here on the XP Talk Show and what we've been raising money for through the charity MAPS, MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association of Psychedelic Studies, is an organization that studies psychedelic compounds and how they can benefit humanity. Their latest study that's about to enter is in phase 3 trials of a treatment to cure PTSD involves MDMA, which is normally a party drug, quote unquote, as you know, the politicians and people who are non-scientific would refer to it as. It cures PTSD, and the way it does this is when you take MDMA under an MRI scan, you can see the neural pathways, the cells, everything, the membranes, all parts of the brain light up under this thing. And it stimulates the mind in such a way that it allows the processing of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and allows them to move on from that memory. Because the mechanism behind PTSD is that the trauma is stuck in the short-term memory part of the brain. And that's what allows that person to relive that trauma over and over and over again, and as if it's happening right now. But after about their 11th or 12th therapy session with the use of MDMA, it moves into the long-term part of the brain, and they no longer have PTSD. And this is just one psychedelic substance. I'd be curious to see, they have other things on here listed as microdosing, psilocybin mushrooms, LSD, and MDMA is also on this list, and all of which are illegal. So they're doing placebo-controlled trial of microdosing starting, they started on the 3rd of September, so I'm interested to see the results. Yeah. Basically, the people who microdose, the quote saying, the people who microdose right now, not an average random set of people from the street, he said, they are very likely to have psychedelics before and have preconceptions about them, which is a normal understanding. When we say preconceptions, and the reason why these things aren't being studied is because there's a lot of propaganda about the use of drugs. And again, me and Lee are not experts. We're not condoning the use of these substances unless it's in a scientific or medicinal practice that is sanctioned or whatever, not illegal. This is simply just information for you guys to do to move forward with this. So let me talk here really quick about
here, while you do that, I'm gonna grab another beer real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I swear I'll be right back.
September 3rd. Oh, that's primarily it. That's it. Yeah, I mean, they were talking about like the theory behind psychedelics. PTSD, big doggy, is called post-traumatic stress disorder. Basically, what it is it's a traumatic event happens, so like child abuse or like a veteran from war experiences something traumatic, like a death of a friend or something like that. And that trauma, that memory gets imprinted into the short-term memory part of the brain. And that part of the brain is responsible for things you can recall immediately and things you've experienced recently. So like, you know, I can recognize what my water tasted like, the coffee I had, the smell of rain outside, that sort of thing. And so when a trigger happens, it could be taste, a smell, it could be a sight, it could be a sound, like a firework going off at the 4th of July near a veteran. That veteran, when he hears that sound, has that memory right there in the short-term part of the brain, and it comes forward and creates hallucinations, the same feelings they had when they experienced that event for the first time, and they have a hard time living in a constant state of anxiety and fear and all of that. So that's what PTSD is. I'm excited that this is starting. Like I would hope that we'd be able to study all compounds and be able to understand, hey, you shouldn't be taking this much, or these are the benefits of taking these things, because the more information we have, the less death we have, the less, basically it comes down to understanding. And I feel like, this is again my opinion, but for a human being to have access to information, I think that's extremely important, especially when it comes down to experimenting with their own psychology, their mental state, their physicalness, like whatever it is, the more information, the better.
Yeah, I think it's like we've talked about this as well, like PTSD and stuff like that. But I think that just the idea of microdosing and stuff is very fascinating, because it's like obviously a very taboo subject matter. Right. But when people like, or if you think about it, it's not as bad as people kind of make it out to be, because if it's microdosing, it's exactly what you were mentioning, how it's not the fact that they're like, I'm I'm fucking getting blazed and like, and
Right.
you know, or you know, I'm tripping at this like concert or whatever, you know, and like, so it's very fascinating how, you know, how actually safe they're trying to be with it. But
Right.
the idea of it is that you're supposed to like, you're really supposed to, you know, be safe with it. And then if it gives us the ability, or if they give us the ability, the government that is to like study it, then that is going to be the big next step that we'll have to take.
Right.
If
And
we
we
can
could have,
study it,
we
you
can,
know, then,
we can,
yeah,
I feel like we can address a lot of the issues that are plaguing us right now. Like when I know it sounds like, you know, this would be like a key thing, but for me, in going off of my personal experiences, like I've never taken enough of a substance to be hallucinating, so to speak, but I have felt a profound connection between like everyone around me and extremely empathetic without any sort of repercussions. And there's like a sort of, honestly, it feels like a wall between like just people in general. Like you'll walk down the street, and I'm sure you've noticed this, but like when you walk down the street and you pass another person, there's no hello, there's no hi, like you don't even acknowledge that person. It doesn't matter because you are doing something and you're going somewhere. And so there's this lack of connection between other human beings, and that lack of connection is producing a lot of anxiety, mental health disorders, addiction, a lot of stuff that's plaguing society, and in general is very misunderstood, especially if they're being imprisoned for non-violent drug crimes.
Yeah, that's I think the biggest part of it is like, again, if you're able to research it, then you know, then there are so many possibilities just culturally,
right?
You know, that you could, you know, start to understand if you start to realize that weed is not that bad for you, you know, and like, and then it's culturally not that bad for you, or bad for culture, you know, it's just like that's where it's, you know, you make those minor changes in the law or whatever it is, then
they're huge changes.
They're huge changes.
Because those changes, like when they affect us on the law level, you're talking about a societal level as well, and then you're changing the ability to like how much that person's influence has on, you know, society, because they're no longer taken out of the pool, so to speak. They're not thrown into prison and separated from everyone else and then brought back into the real world with all these things tied to them that could, you know, and they're not rehabilitated, so they're more likely to go back again. And one of the things I wanted to touch on, one of the things I wanted to touch on is in Detroit Become Human, there is a substance that is being abused by certain individuals, and it creates a lot of trauma and aggression, and it's a lapse in memory and all that other stuff, like judgment. And I kind of, while we were playing it, I was experiencing this firsthand, like, oh, this guy, and there's people in the chat who were doing this that were like, you know, that guy's a piece of shit, you should beat him up, like, I would kill that man, like, all that stuff. And like, it was cool because you can resolve the situation a multitude of different ways, and what you see is not at all like how things are finalized or whatever, because of the variables that exist in this game. Super cool. Like, you could
choose your own adventure, right?
And I'm sure there's a lot of fluff bullshit in there, like some RPGs have, where like, oh, you did this and it changed how this happened, but it really didn't matter in the ending outcome, sort of thing. You know what I mean? But everything feels very tangible in here. Everything feels very real. Like, I
heard that was one of the biggest things about this game, is that like it is true choose your own adventure. Like,
that's really what it feels like. It feels like there's a lot of impact with like what you're doing, and but going back to what I was talking about, so people were like, this man's a piece of shit, you should beat him up, blah blah blah, and I was like, you guys need to remember that the person that you're seeing in front of you wasn't always like this, and that's super important to like keep in mind, because if you have an alternate path to take and you can't take it, then it should be taken, because violence doesn't always end things for anyone. It just, you know, it could fuck up things later on or whatever.
I agree with that statement to like a certain degree, in the sense of like, people weren't always like that, you know, to an extent, because sometimes people are kind of given a bad life for their entire lives. Right?
And it makes them a bad person, quote unquote.
It makes, and that's exactly right. So like, lately I've actually been thinking of that a lot, in the sense of, you know, when I see a piece of shit human being, right?
quote unquote,
quote unquote, piece of shit human being. Like where it's like where you see some,
and you have to ask, what brought you here to be such a piece of shit?
That is exactly that's exactly it. And so, and what's fascinating about that, and the way that kind of gives you a different approach at life, is just the fact that you're now going around, instead of judging people and stuff like that, you have more of a sense of trying to connect with people, as opposed to just being like, this guy fucking sucks.
Right.
It's like, you see a bunch of videos on social media of like super bros that are like, smashing beers with their head and like, I'm fucking badass, and like they're trying to be super bro-y, right? And so normally your instinct is like, this guy's a piece of shit,
right?
You know what I mean? And then you kind of have to think to yourself, like, I shouldn't think that way. And
it's an easy.
It's more, yeah.
We talk about this a lot, but it's an easy default mental pathway.
Yeah.
Like it's just, that's the thing. You see the action, like, right. And the hard part is too, like, society reinforces that, and not society, your environment can reinforce that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's been times where like I'm at a bar hanging out with like you or whatever, or Leia will say something like, that guy's a piece of shit. I'm like, how do you know he's a piece of shit?
Yeah.
Like it's an easy thing.
It's easy to tell. It's easy to tell.
Literally, we just met. We were passing judgment on somebody we met, within not even met personally, but like brushing past or something for like 5 minutes. Like obviously this man's acting selfishly or something, right? But it's like, how did this person get here? And I'm not going to make an excuse for that person, because the life experience that person is having is probably similar to mine, and they're handling it differently. And if I'm confronted with this, like, how do I act in accordance with that? Do I let it affect me, or do I try to empathize with the fact that like this person that is in front of me hasn't always been this way, or is not normally this way, right? And we're not dealt with a whole lot of confrontation. It's just passing judgment constantly.
Isn't that super fascinating, right? It's like just the fact that we all have lived this life for so long. Like you always, especially like, so I was growing up being like a punk rock kid, so it's like, so I grew up hating a lot of people. Like I was super positive all the time, and I tried to make sure people had a good time around me, but like I didn't like a lot of people. I didn't like conformists, and I didn't like, popular kids. I didn't like, football jocks and like all that kind of stuff, right? And so I had that viewpoint because of just how it was programmed in my brain from past lives of, the people before me. So
and you had people reinforcing that perspective too.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? So you see somebody around, and like then you get this sense of connection with other people that think the same way you do
for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons.
Because you're bonding over negative behaviors that you deem negative, because if you were, it's like what you wouldn't like yourself to do. So when you see somebody me and Leia, like if we ever get into a fight, or like argue over something, which is completely normal, couples do that, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's ever over anything dumb, like for me, for example, like, if she left like a cup out, default mental pathway, Steve would see that cup and be like, why the fuck didn't you put this away, you goddamn it? And then like, that's how I would talk to myself.
Right. When
I was living alone. And I'm like, when I first started moving out, it's because I had such a high expectation for myself that if I didn't have the standards across the board for other people, that would mean that I was compromising my beliefs, and I got to protect those. You know what I mean? Like there needs to be a fault of ego. It's like, have you left a cup out on the counter? Yes, of course I have. Why does it frustrate you? It frustrates me because that's something I would have done and have done in the past. And it's a behavior that I don't like. And I'm mad at not you, I'm mad at myself, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think to elaborate on that too, it's like so with that same kind of analogy, like leaving a cup out, and so normally my other default pathway is, well, maybe if I set the example right around that other human being, right? I just keep doing it. Don't give them an excuse to say that they can tell me that you must do it too. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't give them a reason to give you that rebuttal, right? Where it's like, I'll just live my life just like, I'm going to clean everything I possibly fucking can, so that I don't have anybody else like get any sort of rebuttal back towards me. Now,
you act with a level of discipline and intent that doesn't compromise or that doesn't negatively affect those around you, unless
Right.
it's to set an example that is in not a negative light, I guess.
Right.
But anyway, go ahead.
So then you kind of now elaborating on that. It is taking that other step of like, like kind of digging deeper into someone's psyche to understand yourself, how they just got to that point, right? So, and then you start asking yourself. So again, I'm using the cup analogy because you're just mentioning it, but using this for a lot of different
Go ahead, yeah.
life situations where you might get frustrated at someone, but like, you go through that mindset, and then you never ask yourself like, well, maybe they had a bad day, maybe they had a lot on their mind, and that was the absolute last thing that they wanted to think about was putting the fucking cup away, Right. So it's like. So it's asking that, where it's just like, how did you get to this point? And it's like, it's having this discussion about your upbringing or whatever it is, where you can get a sense of connection with somebody and an understanding of someone's life, where it's crazy how much that can connect you to someone else. So it's like, and obviously that on a big scale with every single human being you've ever come in contact with, very difficult. So that's why naturally we have that instinctual, just immediate assumption of other human beings, and
we want to separate ourselves from them.
Right. And you're
further
just
by being like, that person's a piece of shit, meaning like, I'm not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So
like the further I move
thing,
you away from myself, the more comfortable I am, because it makes me feel good. Because we try to we create a hierarchy of like, how we want to exist, and the further up we are in the hierarchy, it's just naturally tribal. Like that's where we sit, and if we're up higher, then everything's kosher. But if we're really down low, that's where things get shitty, and people are pieces of shit, and they're not human or subhuman or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. So there's like, so thinking about even the extreme human being of just you are a dark human. So like the way that it's like, I encourage those of you out there who are interested in just like the criminal system and like the prison system and stuff like that. So there's a ton of prison shows on Netflix. And I totally forgot the name of this one that we've been watching.
You showed me an episode. It made me really sad.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So when you see even those shows of the, most damaging of damaged human beings, where they have done the worst of the worst, right? And they're in jail for it, for murder, for drugs, for, whatever it is.
Whatever
right?
it is, yeah.
And so if you have that same mindset, like what I really love about what some of these shows are doing when it comes to these prison shows is the fact that they are, having this really in-depth interview with these inmates, and you're almost getting this sense of like, what's the term I'm looking for? It's like
introspective,
not a sense of connection, but it's more of like a sense of empathy and sympathy for criminals.
Gotcha. Yeah,
criminals, because like you get a sense of something happened in their life that just made them turn a different way on the street.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, rather than because the criminal system looks at it that way, where it's like you commit the crime, you fucking go to jail.
Right.
And which is totally understandable, and like and. But if we kind of take that extra step as far as how the world sees criminals, you know what I mean? So that's where it links up into like the whole marijuana conversation and all that kind of stuff, where it's like, if you take a step into, just having a conversation with these types of criminals, I can almost guarantee you'll think even the slightest bit differently. I can assure you that, because it, when you understand someone's story and where they came from, you get a sense of sympathy and empathy, where it's like, where you want to help them. Right. It's like right now we look at criminals, we're like, you got to fucking rot in jail, man. You got to rot in jail. You got to be there for the rest of your life.
Regardless of like how bad of the situation is.
Right. So
like non-violent drug charges are like probably the biggest cry for help too.
Yeah. And that's it. And so if you just constantly are in that mindset of like, they have to serve their time, they're criminals. Right. It's like, illegally sure serve that time, but just culturally, if we looked at the prison system and the people in it, then I think it'll go a total different way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's I think the cultural shift that politically we're trying to do too, looking at the criminal justice system and seeing how it's fucked up, because it's fucked up, and then being able to not only not alter the law necessarily, but like alter the system, but also culturally seeing that system for what it is.
Right.
Because
and that's
we
a
have
really
access to
big
so much
part,
information,
because like the more you're aware of it and the more you see it, the more conscientious you can be about your decision.
Yeah, totally it.
Then you remove
and, like, all that stuff.
and then you remove the things like the default mental pathway of thinking negatively about others or like addiction or abuse or whatever it was. Dude, it was I can't wait for you to play Detroit Become Human.
I can't wait either.
The way Jay explained it to me is like people empathize with certain characters over others because of similar experiences as they've had, and even though it takes place in this like future, like I told you about so we were playing through a storyline. I had to take a break because like the plot line was about abuse, and like it really fucking hit home for me, like really bad. And
I'm not trying to get you to like relive that moment, but how could you
I'm fine.
basically without spoilers like describe that scene and how it like affected you that emotionally?
So well, first I was playing as the android Kara, and I was ordered to stay still, like stay put. And so like we were about to have dinner, all that stuff. Do you want me to explain it to you or no?
Maybe not in a lot of detail, because like as I was watching you play, I don't want to watch this.
Basically, what happened was I was either going to, if I didn't obey, the little girl that I was befriending and watching over, as well as this older man, was going to be abused, and so you essentially like break your code to like stop the whole situation from happening, and like that's heavy.
It's
heavy.
Super heavy. Yeah. I do love video games that do that, because they're like, and more games are doing that and experimenting with it, like kind of tapping into just your emotional psyche, where you're just like, and I love it. I absolutely love it. That's very interesting, and I can't wait to.
Yeah, it was intense. Everybody here was like, dude, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you know what?
Because I haven't seen you emotional, man. I have not seen
I cried on stream. You can watch the VOD. You could hear it in my voice. It broke me.
First time I see you cry, I don't want to fucking see it on stream. The first time I'm going to see you cry, if it happens, I'm kind of sounding selfish here, but if it happens,
probably be from a movie.
For my wedding, dude. It's going to be.
I wouldn't cry. I don't cry at weddings.
Damn it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of emotion, and most of it has to come from like the extremely empathetic side of me, and it's unfortunate that it comes from only sadness. I haven't cried from happiness, I think, for a long time. Oh, the closest I got to was I had a dream about me and Leia going grocery shopping, and we had a daughter. Whoa. And it was a really small, it was like how like you wake up and you go back to sleep and you dream for like seems like years, but it's only been like 15 minutes because the snooze goes back on. But yeah, so we were in the grocery store and I had a daughter, but I didn't know, like it's almost like I couldn't hear anything. I was like bagging something, and I look up and it's my daughter and Leia interacting, and then I woke up and I was like close to tears, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait for that.
I've never been that emotional from a dream before. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
This was when I've gotten those like,
dude, when you stop when you stop partaking in herbal medicine, you will have the most realistic crazy fucking dreams.
When you stop?
When you stop.
When the stop with the medicine?
If you take like a tea break, a tolerance break, your dreams will be fucking real. It's insane.
Because you'd think it would be the opposite.
Yeah, because I started looking for work, so I'm like, I'm not gonna, I was like, I can't partake in anything like that. It's illegal here in Chicago.
Yep.
So I never do. Anyway, so I'm taking a tolerance break from tea, and yeah, man, the whole month was crazy. It was nuts. It was fucking flying dreams. It was like androids. It was fucking dinosaur park shit, not Jurassic Park related. It was like it was like a dog park, but with fucking dinosaur. I don't know. It was weird. It was one of those things where like things were so absurd, like I had to, I would wake up. But anyway,
when do you start the job again? I'm sorry.
I start on Monday.
Okay, got it. Do you want to take a break next week?
I don't know. I have to see how the workload is. If it's too much, then I will call it like on Monday.
Got it. I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. I mean, that's like I've been there before. It's like you get the anxiety of like the first week where
I'm very
think about nothing but. So yeah,
I'm not jazzed. I'm very much like, I know it sounds. I'm excited to work there. I'm anxious about the environment and how working there will actually be. Because again, I have this approach. I have this approach right now where like I've had enough time off work to do a lot of reflection and realize like what I'm willing to do, what my tolerance level is. And when I was working at my previous job, it was like way past my tolerance level and I had no fucking clue at all. Because work-life balance was terrible. It was hard to spend time with anybody outside of work. And streaming was like tedious and I couldn't be creative. But yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, I still have hope.
I have hope in you too, buddy.
What else? You want to
get in the thick of it?
Thick of it. What are we doing? Oh yeah,
conversation.
Yeah. So
do it.
Let's talk about Detroit Become Human. Okay, so just briefly, you guys saw a little bit of gameplay. No spoilers. No spoilers. It's a futuristic world where androids are a common commodity, the price of which is affordable to any human being. $5,000 is a base minimum android. It'll help you clean.
$500?
5,000.
Oh, 5,000. Okay.
So it'll help you clean. It'll help you learn. It'll help you fucking work out. It's a caretaker, whatever, for $5,000. And the interest rate was crazy. It was like 48 years at 0% interest. So it's like, why the fuck wouldn't you? For $5,000, people do that shit for like audio equipment and computers and shit. Or a house, you know what I mean?
That money is definitely in like not a lot in retrospect. And this also takes place in like the late 2020s, right? Something like that.
I actually don't know the time period. That's a good fucking thing to know.
Yeah. Because it's like I love those games that are like not too distant future because they give you like this perspective of reality that could happen. Because I think that so like. All right, so I know you're like keep referencing becoming, what is it? Becoming Human?
Detroit Become Human.
Detroit Become Human. Okay. Keep referencing it because that's kind of the bulk of the conversation for it. But like, as far as artificial intelligence goes, like I know a lot of people are like terrified of it. Like they're very scared of it happening, and like they're afraid of robot apocalypse and all this other stuff. But I think that sometimes we need to push the boundaries of our knowledge to be able to understand how to fix it, because like at this point artificial intelligence is inevitable. It's inevitable. It's not going to happen. It's like you can regulate all the fuck you want, but like it's going to happen eventually, right? So
right.
If we're able to approach these breakthroughs and potential problems, if we're able to just like understand them, even future-proofing them, then we have to. So it's like if you kind of put up this wall of fear and say, oh, we shouldn't do that because that's too scary and that's going to do this, and this. It's like, well, we're going to have to do it anyway. We're going to have to learn it. We're going to have to understand how we can fight against it.
Right.
So like I am fascinated in the future of artificial intelligence to not only think about it this way. So I thought about this the other day. Well, I've actually been thinking about this for a little while. This is more so like Apple's approach to machine learning, right? Which is like not quite artificial intelligence.
It's not artificial intelligence,
right? But it's like it's the ability for the technology to kind of learn itself and learn based off of functionality, based off of coding and stuff like that, to perform these functions and to just be, to exist, right?
Right.
So I thought about that and I was like, that in the bigger picture, like if it really happens this way, I would love it. Think about technology, like your computer, your smartphone, your tablet, anything that has an operating system on it.
Yeah.
And understand that it will always have the ability to get bugs and to have software issues, right? We all know that. We've all experienced that, and we all know that. So the way that you destroy those bugs and fix those operating system issues is you restore it, you reinstall your operating system, or you do whatever you got to do to fix it. So, but if you had machine learning or some sort of form of like artificial intelligence, self-sustaining learning software to learn where those bugs are and to essentially adapt itself and function itself to fix those bugs automatically, right?
Yeah.
So I just kind of, as we like to do here on the Exp Talk Show, is predict the goddamn future.
Yeah.
Okay, just so you guys know. I just foresee, and I know we've talked about this, but like I foresee a world where, software will continue to function and it will be indestructible, right? Software and operating systems being indestructible. Because right now, like if you think about it, it's like, it's so tame. It's so, my phone can't just function. It has to get these bugs. It will eventually get these bugs and stuff like that. Really? In today's age, so there's people thinking about that are getting paid way more than we are.
Yeah. I mean, like the fail-safe thing is a big one. Machine learning and AI are entirely different. You know what I mean? AI, artificial intelligence is like, we're talking about like a being that has emotion like a object that has emotion and understanding of the situation that's in it. And that's why
difference between them. But yeah, I like to connect those two because it's like,
it's close.
It's almost on the same realm because because the emotional side is true of artificial intelligence,
right?
Of just like software and technology learning on its own, but the machine learning of adaptability and critical thinking and problem solving and also stuff that the human brain does. How do you create that into something like a piece of technology? You know what I mean?
The only time you'd be able to do that to have the same amount of capacity as like the human brain would be like I guess like a machine that can not only learn itself but has to learn everything else based on humans and how they operate, right?
Right.
And you can't restrict that necessarily because like I don't know, this conversation gets kind of crazy in that direction because
it does, but
because you're talking about what is the need for human input at that point, right?
But yes and no. So this is the fear that people have about some sort of not too distant future about technology. Is what's the need for us then, right?
Right.
And so the same way that I'm saying, like that people are asking those questions already. Right. So you know that the people that are in charge of this technology have to be thinking that way. Right. Even if they they fail and they create some super robotic monster that like takes over the world or whatever.
Sure.
Like there will be always that underlying person that's going to ask why. They're going to ask, what about this? What about this? What about this? It goes back into the whole scientific thought process like we talked about for the first article.
Yeah, but it could be humans aren't perfect is the thing.
They're not, but the people,
you can create a fail-safe, but like the worry is like Skynet, right? That's always been the worry is like
I think it's really like the Kurzgesagt video. I'm pretty sure that there's one on artificial intelligence.
There is,
yeah, exactly. So this is where I get a lot of my kind of perspective on it. So again, if we have anybody in the chat that could link Kurzgesagt's YouTube video or YouTube page, highly suggest going to it. But they have an artificial intelligence video, and it not only gives you a good perspective of artificial intelligence, but also like the future of it, where it's like it gives you hope too. So that's where I'm like, yes, totally. Those tech companies build whatever you want to build, create the software, start using artificial intelligence so we know how to function with it. And then we'll kind of see how it goes.
Yeah, the maximum the maximum involvement I would like is like the companion level, because like, I mean, it'd be different because we talked.
Robot, don't you? You want to love a robot.
I wouldn't pay the money to love a robot. I'm saying, no, I think it'd be cool to have like a robot companion. Like
yeah.
I think if I had the option to, like, this kind of goes down to like, I guess, augmentations versus like AI intelligence, right? Because like AI is existence on its own. It could be consciousness on its own to a certain degree, right? Transporting your consciousness. Like, what if you could transport your consciousness into a robot body? Would you be AI at that point because you're no longer a human?
A human? I liked how you said that.
Yeah.
A human?
Human being.
Dude, I love that. That's funny.
Human.
But
HOOMAN.
Humans will always need to exist. There are, now it's a far distant future, but like understanding the human brain and understanding its complexity and how it came to be, how humans came to evolve, all that stuff. Are questions that we're always going to try to ask. We're always going to try to ask them, but we should be asking them, and we should be finding those answers because we need to know what else. We need to know what next step we need to understand. We need to keep.
Well, like, would you consider AI to be the next evolution of human beings? Because
it could. You talk.
Would you accept that? Would you accept that as like the next step for human evolution?
It could, because think about it, like for most of us, the only problem is that actually, I don't even think it's a problem necessarily. Is that it's going to get to a point where we're like either not going to be around, or just humans will not be around, to the point where where that will be a reality. You know what I'm saying? Of artificial intelligence.
Or we're going to have to surpass our own mortality in order to survive, right?
Right. So it's like.
So how do we do that? We transport our consciousness into a body that doesn't decay or fuck up.
That's totally it. So maybe that's the answer, and we will always be just in this phase of robotics.
Well, it's not even robotics anymore. It's just a part of our life.
Yeah, it is. That's exactly it. It's just like that is just who you are. So
which is I think comes down to what is consciousness to us then, because
now you're getting into territory,
right? So
just beautiful.
Well, that's what AI is. That's what AI is. AI to me, when I'm playing, this game, you're left questioning, what is human, what is not human, and the separation of that. I mean, it's possible that AI is just our separation. It's kind of like the conversation we had before. We were talking about you want to separate yourself from others, so you dehumanize the people that you're interacting with, and so that's what they do in this game. Is they refer to androids as its, and they don't die. They get damaged.
That's very true.
So
very, very true.
So
I don't know. It's a hard thing to foresee,
right?
But it's something that I think is just again inevitable.
Yeah,
I think we're way past the possibility of it even happening.
Right.
As far as artificial intelligence goes,
for now,
for now. So it's like if you think about some of the videos that I'm sure all you goddamn nerds on Reddit have seen, but those videos of those advanced hyper realistic robots,
Abraham Lincoln.
The Abraham Lincoln one. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So it's so you've seen that, and it's if you look at that and you're like, that can never, or if you just think about 10, 15 years ago, right, and seeing that video, you're like, that's a movie. That's impossible. There's no way that is real. But then you live today's age, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's the robotics, and it's a real thing. So you combine that with the or if you amplify that to look into the future that way, then there's no way that it can't exist. Does that make sense? So. I know I'm kind of jumping around a little bit, but
no worries. Yeah.
But
I mean, that makes sense. Yeah. The way I think about consciousness and AI and humans and all that stuff. I don't know what's going to happen, because we'll be long gone before any sort of way to preserve that is, I guess.
Right. It's we are going to be long gone when something like that is natural.
But when I'm thinking about human history and how everything works and all of that, how. What does the absence of mortality do to a human being? It takes away what I think is a human. Is everybody has this common understanding that we are all going to die someday, right? Right. And if you can supersede that,
right,
are you human still? And the question I think,
I don't know,
isn't maybe it's what makes a human a human. It's the experiences of the individual, right?
Yeah.
So these people that I'm playing as, or not people, sorry, the androids that I'm playing as in Detroit Become Human.
They are people.
They are people, bro. No, the people the androids I'm playing as, the you can't help but empathize with the situations because you can see yourself in those situations, and you ask yourself, what would you do in those same situations? And defying others in order to do what's right is like, I don't even know how to explain it. Trauma, passion, sadness, all of these emotions, I think, are what comprise us, and the attachment to the memories that are associated with them is what creates a human being. Right?
Yeah, I mean, like there are things that make us different from others. Like we understand that, but I think it's just going to be like a fascinating look into the future and seeing what what that is in store for us. And obviously this stuff is like so far into the future as we understand.
Yeah,
but, like,
of course.
But I think it's still something that we can't ignore. Like there's no way that we could ignore it at this point.
I agree.
Absolutely not. But I think it's So is there anything that you like, other stuff that you like about Detroit Human that you, without spoilers, that you?
It creates an extremely believable world, like in which everything exists. It doesn't. It feels cohesive. It doesn't feel like you're living through separate moments. All of them, even though all the moments that you're playing through are separated, they have minor connection between the others. But it's just cool to see it through the different perspectives and lenses. Yeah. So like, one of the androids you're playing as, the one that with like the domestic abuse sort of thing situation, is in a poor income. With a drug addict, essentially. And then there's a forensic interrogation robot for like these androids that develop a sort of AI mentality and don't want to die and because of trauma and stress. And then there's also one that was like a privileged android that was working for a very understanding human who wanted them to express themselves and be an individual and all the things that androids weren't supposed to do. Right. So it's really cool to see like the spread of experiences and how they're being played out. And it's also really cool to see how they bridge the gap of like the here and now, because it's not like so crazy. The technology that you're seeing and the stuff you're experiencing isn't so crazy that it's out of the realm of reality. It's not like Blade Runner-esque sort of thing.
Dude, that's like that's the beauty of science fiction, is that it makes you think that this could happen,
right? And it's just cool to see everything. So it's like not super far in the future enough to where it's unbelievable. Everything's still very much like on a local level. So that's it's just cool, really cool.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I love the visuals of it. Yeah, I love the the motion capture. That's another like kind of quick side conversation, is like the beautiful advancements of like motion capture and like people animation in video games.
It's so good in this one.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
Dude, I remember when the game first started, when Jay first showed me the first level, and like it goes from cutscene to you being able to play seamlessly, and like for a second I was like, wait, can you move? And then he moved and I was like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like this shit is next level believableness. Nice. The reason why those graphics are there and the reason why the world is constructed the way it is to make you believe that it is real. And I fucking got emotional during it, and that helped a lot with the immersion of it.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much more to say about it without spoiling anything. Did you want to move into Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's move into Q&A.
Hey guys, so before we end the talk show, let me go through here really quick and thank everyone who hosted and all that fun stuff, because
let's go back in the
again
chat.
The reason why
a lot of people conversing, and I love it.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for being so warm and welcoming to all the new people. I wanted to again, like the reason why we do this show is to spread the positivity and awareness of like others and to celebrate scientific discoveries and kind of share our perspective with them. We're not experts, we're not scientists, and we just like talking about this. And me and Lee started the show because me and him both had these conversations prior to this show existing, and we thought that the more people would be involved, the more beneficial it would be, not only for us but for the people that are participating. So thank you, my waifu, for the hosted for the host. Damn it, Gene, thank you for following. Boston, Dave Zor, thank you so much for the hosts. Kitten, Kittens Fluff, thank you for the follow. I Kill 12, thank you for the follow. Micolette, thank you for the follow. Riley, thank you for the raid. Thank you guys for coming in and smooching that follow button.
It's just like it's so weird, like how much hype you got, man. It's so cool.
Well, dude, yeah, when you got all the time in the world to figure out yourself and you can put it into something like, you know, streaming, I think it's really beneficial and people just kind of dig it.
Yeah.
Let me go through here and see if we have any questions. Hold on.
Questions.
Would we or should we, in a situation like Detroit Become Human, recognize the importance of an android life or equate it to human life? It's a good question. It's a big question.
Say it again.
Would we or should we, in a situation like Detroit Become Human, recognize the importance of an android life or equate it to human life?
That's a very deep conversation.
The question, I think,
philosophical question, you know, but I don't know. That's because it's going to get to the point where, as you know, science fiction movies have said, and as like games like this have done, like they're always like,
I think,
treat the robots like humans. Are they like us or not like us?
Well, here's the thing that like is a extreme conflicting thing with that question in particular, is that as human beings, we are a tribalistic society. Regardless of the scope of humanity, like becoming a baby, growing up into a family, being surrounded by your peers and colleagues, and like knowing what those are, the being able to align with the fact that yes, I am human, you are human, you've had similar experiences to me. A android has not had those same experiences unless they have. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the only difference. And so you can that separation will still exist as long as the separation between android and human exists. Now, the bridge there is somebody dying and then them being able to transport the consciousness into an android.
That's next.
That's like a pinnacle point where like the line between humans and androids are now blurred.
Yeah.
You can live forever now, or replace your parts. Hey, do you want to die? No, nobody wants to die. Fucking android it up.
But it's gonna take it's like what I'm fascinated about is like, and I'm gonna try to contain this conversation because I know it's a whole nother one. But it's like I'm interested to see what the future of science fiction looks like. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like because as science fiction has always done, it's always a topic or some sort of like story or subject that is beyond our conception of the world, right? So if now we know the whole stories of robotics, we've heard that story before, we know artificial intelligence, we've seen those like robot apocalypse movies, transferring your consciousness, like like all these other things. So understanding the future of science fiction,
right,
is what I cannot wait for. Like there are going to be movies that are going to come out probably in the not too distant future that are going to completely make us be like, oh fuck, you know, like just I've never heard nor seen that ever anywhere.
Yeah,
you know. So
well, like the mortality piece is really big. Like I don't know if you can succeed the human race like without mortality. That's the whole reason why we have an existence.
Yeah,
because like you're a baby and you grow up to become a human. There's no family with the robot thing. You can't artificially inseminate anybody to make a robot baby. Like that shit doesn't happen unless there was some sort of fucking crazy thing that happened where it's like a synthetic. And that's way beyond what I think is possible in terms of that. Because if we're going by Detroit Become Human standards, you're talking about a thing that's a fully built adult right out the gate, ready to do shit and responsible and all that fun stuff. Here's another question. If we treat the robots like humans, even if they aren't truly sentient beings, does that make them human? No, it does not. Because we can treat a dog like a human, and it's still a dog. It's not human.
That's more of like a biological question than an intellectual question. I
guess so, yeah.
Know? So, I don't know. That one's a tough one too.
Is our consciousness what makes us human? I would say it's a part of being human.
I think yes, because like, you know, we've talked about.
What about your mortality?
Well, your mortality, yes, but a lot of it's your consciousness because you understand what mortality is. Like other beings in the world, like other organisms, like they know life and death, they know survival and death. Like that's pretty much all they know, right? But it's our consciousness that kind of differentiates us from the rest of that. So
yeah.
I think it's very fascinating.
It's all crazy.
It's all so crazy. What other questions have we got? Give us some more questions.
Well, I just have a statement. That would be a horrible idea to transfer people's consciousness into a robot instead of dying. Imagine the population. Yeah, I mean, well, here's the thing. The population wouldn't increase.
Right.
So you'd end up with possibly a better planet. I mean, that could be an end result.
Yeah, that whole, like, the whole birthing process. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I still think there would be segregation between, like,
babies.
androids and humans.
It's good. Like, I think so kind of like to you know something funny? You know something super funny? So Android phones or droid phones, the droid phones, remember those?
Yeah.
They don't really make them anymore. Do they make them still?
Yeah, I mean, I think droids. So. Like I don't think they do the whole like droid thing, but it's Android. Right. Yeah, that's a fucking.
Well, the Android operating system, but like the droid phones, like they were licensed with Lucasfilm because droid was a copywritten term by Lucasfilm for Star Wars.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy? So like,
that's pretty crazy.
If you watch any, like if you go back and watch some of like the droid commercials, like in the trademarking or like the fine print, it's always like trademark Lucasfilm.
Weird.
For droid. Yeah. How hilarious is that?
Paranoid says, I'm literally hiding in a bathroom to write this down in Fortnite. He's playing Fortnite. If our consciousness could go into a computer, then I wouldn't consider them humans. It would be a copy paste of their memories and personalities, how complex they may be.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
If we can understand consciousness, we understand that it evolves and it changes and it learns, it adapts.
Right.
So what you know?
What would be the difference between Robot Steve and regular Steve? The mortality is the difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference, Paranoid, and that's my argument for it. Like if you could continue that robot could go to continue and have different experiences and become a different version of myself, and I would still be me. There's only one of me, right? My experiences, uniqueness, blah blah blah. But in actuality, the way it works is like you guys are all me living a different life, expressing it through different variables, and you're sitting right here having a conversation with me and intriguing the idea of mortality and what that is, consciousness, all that fun stuff. Right, so I would argue that. I would argue that if you copy and paste me into a robot, it's still me. That's me. Like I'm going to think of myself as separate because it's the physicalness, the mortalityness, that sort of thing. A robot could live on and do and become better or whatever it is because it can live longer. Right. But consciousness to me, like, I don't know. When I say the word consciousness, and I know this word kind of ruffles some feathers here, but that to me is God. Like, God, what's that quote? It's the kingdom of man is within all men the kingdom of God is within all man. That's what it is. It's like the quote there, meaning that God is inside you. Not sexually, but like the consciousness. That's what I think of as God is like the true voice. You can identify, what is the animalistic behavior, what is the emotional behavior, what is the default negative mental pathway, and there is a higher consciousness to that. When I say higher consciousness, I'm referring to yourself. It comes with inside you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's the ultimate dictator of like whether a decision is moral or not or just or whatever it is. That's like all within a human being's decision making. It's not an external force acting outside of it, contributing to how you're proceeding, right? Mm-hmm. It's all in there. It's just a higher level of thinking that we choose to not tap into that often unless we're maybe in a psychedelic event.
Hold on. I need to find the... God damn it! I should have done more research on this because, like, just as you're talking about that, the kind of like the thoughts inside is something I grabbed from Westworld, and I think it's a Van Gogh painting.
While you're looking it up, let me read another one. Animals have mortality and a sense of self-preservation. They also make decisions for themselves on where to go and how to act around other life. If AI reached that same state, would it be considered life regardless of being... Is it life?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it would because it has a mortality. The reason why those behaviors exist on a animalistic level is because they need to survive. It's a natural want for any living thing to do that. Sorry, go ahead.
So, I found it. So, God, I love the internet, right? If you're just like, if you need to search something, you search general terms. So the creation of Adam painting from Michelangelo If you look that up, so like Westworld did this.
If
like,
you have the chat open, copy it and paste it in there.
Here, yeah. Let me do. I'm gonna just put the Wikipedia article in here, just so you guys kind of know like some of the backstory and stuff like that. But so the creation of atom painting, like Westworld, did this crazy like mind fuck where it was like, if you look at this painting, it's a painting of God that's creating Adam and like, pointing to him to create him. But if you notice the outline of this backdrop that, that God is over, it's in the shape of a brain. So kind of symbolizing like, God is created in your own brain kind of thing. It's like so trippy and weird.
Yeah. God is in your own mind.
Right. It's very fascinating.
Yeah. That's why I like that quote. God, the power of God. Like, I don't like the idea that, and I think that's a common thing that you and me come to an understanding on, is we don't like to think that there is control outside of our physicalness. You know, that's directing us in a particular way. Cause that's not, I feel like that's how it works. It feels like, it's within all of us. We understand there's a certain level of higher consciousness that we can achieve, and it comes through, sometimes, but like, the word God, the reason why I use that is because that word is associated with all the things you think God would do without the book context of it. Like the all-knowing, the loving, like all of that stuff. Like that's where the knowledge comes from, the consciousness comes from, like the God level aspect of our brains, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Our third eye, if you will, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this Wikipedia page kind of goes into the composition of everything. And I said, yeah, see, no one like, hold on. Guy creating imaging is, yeah, no one like kind of specifically talks about that, but it's just like, it's kind of a fascinating thing when you look at it. Now, every time I see that painting, I'm always like, oh,
that's
shit.
A brain, bro.
It looks like a brain.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And like, I still think, I mean, I don't want, this is another conversation for a different time, but like, I still think, Jesus was real. I just don't think, I think the cool thing, I don't know if the stories were real about him or whatever, but what I do think is that he was a dude that tapped into that, what he considered God complex inside his brain, and spread, love and companionship and all that other stuff. And that during a time where people were getting fucking murdered for like crazy shit all the time, and, raping and pillaging and all that, the what living in that timeline could have been like. I could understand why a dude who was preaching this stuff was like suddenly otherworldly, and all that.
I mean, yeah, if you think of like how these things came to be, like I get the other kind of futurist in me kind of wants to know like what artwork from our generation or our lives like will carry on for generations to come, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because artwork is really just a depiction of the current state of society and stuff. Yeah. So like I'm very fascinated and interested to see like what that looks like.
Me too, man.
But yeah.
Was there any other questions that we could answer for you guys? Again, like we're not experts or whatever, but if you're curious about our perspective and want to know, now's the time to ask before we end the talk show. And thank you guys so much for contributing to this conversation. Seriously.
Again, I think Steve, like, you're a great person to talk with.
Death? No. Humans need fantasy to be human, to be the place where the falling angel meets the rising ape. I mean, possibly, but like, I mean, theoretically, the apes, if they created something that was a next level human being, yeah, granted, like if we're talking about technical terms, no, you can never have an AI be a human being, because biologically that's not possible. But if we're talking about what makes a human being and excluding the mortality of it, and we're just considering the thought process and logic, the next step, I think, in my opinion, would be AI. Because you can have a cyborg with limitations and all of that stuff, but like once those barriers are broken, you're essentially dealing with a human being in some way, shape, or form.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Easy cheese.
Kind of thought.
I would love to. Yeah. 2001: A Space Odyssey. No.
It totally talks about that.
It kind of talks about it.
It talks about like the gift of a tool to something so primitive like an ape.
Right.
The like the symbolism of like the club and of the bone like being a tool,
Fire.
and a thing of power and stuff like that.
Yes.
And then it evolves into the thought process of artificial intelligence in HAL, like kind of being that next, you know, like crazy tool that could either.
See, I forgot all about that.
Like, oh yeah, that's kind of like the
I thought of how bored I was for the rest of it, but the monkey thing was really fucking cool.
Oh, the rest of it's so good because it's like that's kind of the connection, because like in the time that 2001 was being created in like the 60s.
Yeah, it was in the 60s. When you said that, I was 60s. Like, oh man, because like,
right.
If you went back, if you went back 20 years, that man would have been burned alive.
Right. Yeah.
If you showed that movie, they'd be like, "What the fuck, bro? Yeah, that's not even cool to be like doing that right now."
That's why I love this movie so much, is because like in the 60s when technology was like first becoming a thing, computers were first becoming a thing, you know, and like at least more of a natural thing. So
Mercy, send me that, please.
It was like you know, like the director, it was like their painting of a picture that was like technology could help us or hurt us. Like we don't know what that's going to be like. So it's a very interesting movie.
Could be our ultimate destruction or something.
Yeah. Could be our ultimate destruction, or it could advance us beyond any other species.
Further beyond.
Ever. You know what I'm saying? So
plus ultra. All right, guys. I think that's it.
Oof.
Any other questions before we end it? Anything else? I'll give you guys the last call.
I'm gonna noms on some food.
I'm gonna try to convince Leia to give me her fried chicken. Because I ate only mine, and I was like,
dude, good luck. Good luck on that one.
I'm gonna try, bros. I'm gonna try.
Steve, let me know about tomorrow night if you could kick it with us.
Will do.
Keep me posted. If not, I'll see you on Saturday. See Childish Gambino.
I will, dude. I will.
Dude, are you excited for this show? Because I'm stoked.
All right, Easy Cheese, take it easy. I'm excited for this show, dude. When he emailed and it was like, you need to know these things prior to coming in, like the lyrics or whatever. I'll forward you that.
Thank you. Yes, forward that to me.
I'll have Leia do it because I don't know if I have the attachment or whatever.
Send it anyway, to me as soon as possible so I could listen to whatever music I need to tomorrow.
All right, Easy Cheese. Have a good night. You guys, thank you guys so much for coming to the XP Talk Show. You will see us possibly next week. I start my new job next week, so we'll figure it out. Just keep an eye out on the Twitter. Yep. And the whole schedule will change next week, so we're gonna figure out when we're streaming and all that. I hope you guys have a great night. Lee, do you have anything that you want to talk about before we end?
Be curious, guys. Be curious. Be weird. Question everything. Look at the world with an open mind. And yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, bros.
Words of the wise.
All right, bros. Thanks for hanging out. This has been the XP Talk Show. I'm ConkyDonk64.
And I'm R2 Lee2. Get it?
Mm-hmm. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with some more Detroit Become Human without Lee.
Without me.
Yeah.
I'm going for the night. Bye, guys.
All right, bye-bye.
Boop,
boop, boop.
Cool. And we're out, I think. Awesome, dude. Good show again. So good. Yeah, it really is. Like, it doesn't matter the subject. It always goes into those tangents. Yeah. Oh, man. You got some good people in the chat, man. That's really cool. They're, like, super active and stuff. Still 34 people now? That's cool. Yeah. Why? Come on, man. You gotta get the show in. They don't love that level up. They want to level up. You gotta tell your friends to level up, dog.